You know that phone in your pocket or the coffee you're drinking right now? Well, they didn't just magically appear. They traveled through this incredibly complex, mostly invisible world that literally powers our entire global economy. So today, we're going to pull back the curtain on that world, logistics, using some fantastic insights from Logistics 101, Volume 3. For years, this hidden world really only had one job: be cheap and be fast. That's it. But that old model, it's really starting to crack under the pressure of, well, everything. The world's just gotten way more volatile and complicated, and just being cheap and fast isn't going to cut it anymore. So the big question is, how do you actually lead in this completely new era? Well, it really boils down to getting a handle on three major challenges that are all tied together. We're going to look at how the best leaders are thinking way beyond just shipping boxes and are instead learning to orchestrate this huge global system of intelligence. Okay, so our first big idea is what we're calling beyond the box. This is all about realizing that modern logistics isn't really about trucks and warehouses anymore. I mean, it is, but it's also a high-stakes strategic game. It's a game of constant trade-offs. And right at the heart of it is this fundamental puzzle. And here it is, the efficiency puzzle. You've got this relentless three-way tug of war. Get faster, get cheaper, and give better service, all at the same time. It's this constant pressure, and it's probably the single biggest challenge that every supply chain leader wakes up thinking about.
At the core of this whole puzzle is a huge shift in mindset. For decades, if you said supply chain in a boardroom, people just thought cost center. You know, a necessary evil, an expense you just try to shrink. But now, the smartest companies see it for what it is: a seriously powerful engine for winning in the market.
And the scale of this puzzle is it's massive. Think about this for a second. Just transportation, literally just moving stuff from point A to point B, can eat up 60% of a company's entire logistics budget. So if you can find even a tiny bit of efficiency there, you're unlocking huge value. And it's not just happening on the highways. Let's go inside a warehouse for a minute. It's kind of shocking, but study after study shows that for every order someone picks, they spend more than half their time, sometimes up to 70%, just walking around. Just walking. That's an absolutely enormous opportunity for improvement right there. So how are the best companies solving this? They're basically changing the rules of the game. They're ditching the old metrics that were easy for them to measure, like, did we ship it on time? And they're focusing on what you, the customer, actually care about. Did it get to me on time? It sounds like a small tweak, right? But it forces the whole company to think in a completely different way.
Okay, but here's the catch. Being super efficient can sometimes make you super fragile. And that leads us right into our second huge challenge, the resilience test. In a world where there's always some new disruption, the question isn't just, how fast are you anymore? It's, can you take a punch? Can you bend without breaking?
And this timeline just lays it out so clearly. You can see how our thinking has completely changed. Back in the 80s, it was all about being lean, lean, lean. Then, after big shocks like 9/11, we started to get a little more aware of risk. And now, post-pandemic, it's not just a good idea. Resilience is an absolute board-level must-have. And this resilience test, it isn't just about trade wars or pandemics. It's also about sustainability. And this chart, wow, this really tells the story. For most companies, the lion's share of their carbon footprint isn't in their own factories or offices. No, it's hidden deep inside their supply chain, their suppliers, their shipping, the whole network. Managing that is a huge part of being resilient today.
Now, if you want to build a truly global, resilient supply chain, everybody has to be speaking the same language. And anyone in this world will tell you that language is called Incoterms. These 11 rules are the absolute bedrock. They define exactly who's responsible for what, when, and where when goods cross borders.
And believe me, getting these rules wrong can be unbelievably expensive. A simple paperwork mistake, like putting the wrong product code down or having two documents that don't match up, it can get your shipment stuck for weeks, trigger massive fines, and bring your otherwise resilient supply chain to a grinding halt.
All right, this all brings us to our third and final challenge, and it's a big one: the future-proofing race. We're all swimming in the sea of new tech, and the race is on to figure out what's a real game changer and what's just hype.
One of the most practical tools you can use right now is something called robotic process automation, or RPA. The easiest way to think about it is like this. They're software bots that you can teach to do all the boring, repetitive digital paperwork that just clogs up every supply chain. Things like data entry, processing invoices, all that stuff. Now, here's what's so cool about this. This isn't about bots replacing people. It's about a partnership. Let the bots handle the mind-numbing copy and paste work they're great at. That frees up the humans, us, to do what we do best. Think strategically, solve tricky problems, and actually talk to other people.
Then, of course, you've got AI, especially in planning. Trying to guess what customers are going to buy is famously difficult, but AI can look at everything: weather, holidays, social media trends, and boost the accuracy of those forecasts by up to 50%. I mean, think about what that means. Way less wasted product and way fewer out-of-stock signs. Everybody wins.
And then there's blockchain. Okay, we have to be real here and cut through the massive hype. Blockchain is not a magic wand that solves every problem. It's much better to think of it as a very specific, very specialized tool for one particular job, creating a single shared source of truth between a bunch of different partners who might not fully trust each other. So far, its most powerful use is in traceability. And it's actually pretty simple. A product gets a unique digital ID. Every time it changes hands, that's recorded on the permanent ledger. You can even add data from sensors, like temperature. The result? You could scan a QR code on a bag of coffee and see the exact farm it came from and its entire journey to you. It's pretty amazing. So, when you put it all together, here's the most important thing to remember. Efficiency, resilience, and technology, they aren't separate things you can work on. They're all connected. You can't be truly resilient without the right tech, and your efficiency is useless if your supply chain breaks at the first sign of trouble. They are the three legs of the stool for modern logistics leadership. Which leaves us with one last big idea to think about. As all this technology starts to handle the manual, repetitive parts of the job, what does that mean for the people? The role is changing, fast. The future of this profession isn't about managing things, boxes, trucks, containers. It's about becoming an orchestrator of intelligence, leading that hidden world right out in the open.